Hey everyone, my name is Hackney. I'm a techno and house music DJ and producer, and today I'm going to be discussing the pros and the cons of studying a music degree at university. Let's go. So for some context, I studied music production at BIMM London. I graduated in the summer of 2020 and I now work as a technician for a music venue whilst making and releasing music and DJing on the side. Everything in this video is based on my experiences, so may not be 100% accurate to your experience, but I believe it's true for the majority. But enough of me, let's get on with the video. One of the best things about any university you go to is the opportunity to meet new people, and that's incredibly relevant to music universities because, and say it with me,
it's not what you know, it's who you know.
The benefit of studying music is that most people around you are just starting out. It's highly unlikely that you're going to find a record label boss sitting next to you in the classroom, but that person sat next to you could become a record label boss in 5 to 10 years' time. So get to know them now, become good friends with them, because in a few years' time when they're making moves up the industry ladder and providing you're still mates with them at the time, they could give you some crazy opportunity to support a massive band or get your EP signed to a label. The key here is you don't know what your classmates will end up doing, and getting to know them in a safe and a forgiving environment like a classroom is an amazing way to make contacts. Which leads me nicely onto my next point. Universities sort of exist in their own little bubble whereby everything exists, such as music producers, musicians, event promoters, engineers, journalists. This small little bubble of people is providing all sorts of services and skills, so make the most of it. Once you go out into the real world, these kinds of people will be much harder to find, less approachable, and less likely to work with a fresh-faced person out of university. So your time at uni is the time to meet these people, get to know them, and use their services whilst you can. The structure of the courses at universities are well put together and give you a good baseline and understanding of a certain subject, which then gives you a platform to go deeper on a subject in your own time. But this could also be seen as a con, as you're only lightly focusing on a subject rather than studying more in depth. But studying lightly on a lot of different subjects gives you a broad knowledge of your chosen subject, which can help you when trying to find a career path, as you'll know more about what you like and what you don't like. One of the things that is often hard to come by as a DIY artist is proper, genuine feedback. A lot of the time, other DIY artists get put off by people spamming them links, asking you to listen to their brand new fire track, or them just giving you one line of feedback saying, yeah, sounds decent, mate, and not really expanding on it. One of the good things about the tutors at university is that it's their job to help you improve, and a lot of the time they'll be keen to sit down with you and discuss your work, or send you a lengthy email comparing your track to some obscure track they used to listen to in the 90s. So again, make the most of this. Feedback from professionals isn't easy to come by. For me, one of the big attractions of going to university was the chance to move to London. University is great at giving you the opportunity to move out and to somewhere that's potentially quite unattainable, especially London, where you need to sacrifice several limbs each month to afford a roof over your head. Music universities are usually located in thriving music areas too. They're not going to be located in the middle of nowhere, so it's a great chance to make the jump into a big city with a proper music scene. If you already live in a big city, then I guess this just doesn't apply to you. This is one of the things that universities really promote when they're trying to sell the university to you, and it's quite easy to overlook or take these things for granted, but you really shouldn't. These facilities are usually industry standard, or close enough at least, but getting used to using the facilities is invaluable when you're starting to get work, where you'll need a basic understanding of certain equipment and setups to hit the ground running at that job. Also, it's a great chance to try something new with your music. If you're in a band, you might get the chance to use some new microphones or some analog effects, or if you're a synth head, you should be able to get your hands on more synths. What is taught on university courses, specifically music courses, is quite often readily available online and quite often for free. A couple of Google and YouTube searches and you'll be able to find a lot of the course content. This becomes a bit of an issue, especially here in England, where we pay thousands of pounds each year to learn things we could teach ourselves theoretically from home. Granted, not all of it is free. With COVID over the last couple of years, the amount of online learning resources has grown hugely, and it's now a key income for a lot of musicians whose gig money has been hit heavily. But these courses are considerably cheaper than university English tuition fees. Another downside of the courses is that some of the modules have little relevance to your chosen career path. This happened with me, specifically the modules where we spent time working in studios, recording bands and new musicians, things like this. The thing is, I make electronic music and I have no real intention of going into that field of work, as I'd much rather be working with synths or doing live sound engineering. Whilst it was vaguely interesting at the time, it was hard to get excited about the modules, and I would rather I spent my time doing things more relevant to my chosen career path. Now, whilst moving to a big city with a bustling music scene seems like an amazing idea, in reality, the music industry in that city, especially London, can feel like a world away when in the confines of your university, making it difficult and daunting to break into it when you've graduated. I'm struggling with that now. I got my job working in the live venue because my mum worked there. Without that connection, I wouldn't know where to go or what to do. Universities are businesses at the end of the day, and they have to make money. This is why they're more likely to cater their courses to beginner and intermediates, musicians and producers and what have you, so they can get more people on the courses, as they'll seem more attainable for people who are just starting to get into music. So if you consider yourself to be quite good at what you do, then you might find a lot of the modules quite easy, and you'll feel like you're wasting your time, so you might be better off continuing just doing your music by yourself. There's a big emphasis on professional development and getting you prepared for the working world. I guess you could consider this a pro, but to be honest, I found it to be a bit of a con. It takes away from the music creating time, and I wasn't actually told how to actually go out and find work. It's all well and good creating this 5-year plan and doing a lot of self-assessment, but now that I'm actually in the working world, I found there to be little relevance in the industry and development modules. The only good thing that came from these modules were the good book recommendations. And lastly, university graduates have a bad reputation, not just in music, but sort of everywhere, to be honest. They're seen as entitled or overly keen to the point of annoying to a lot of people, and most people in the music industry got to where they were through years and years of hard work and sacrifice, and don't really like it when a new graduate comes along flashing their degree demanding a job. Because of this bad reputation, the boss of an audio hire company who was providing speakers for a gig at the venue I work for was asking who I was and how I got into working at the venue. When I told him I went to university, he said, "Oh, so you're one of them types, are you?" Which kind of surprised me, and so I replied semi-sarcastically, "Yes, I'm one of them types." So if you're graduating, just beware, there may be a lot of people out there who don't particularly want to have anything to do with you because you went to university. I know it sounds stupid, but it's the reality. So to conclude, university is great for networking, providing you with a broad but limited knowledge of a certain area of music and access to great facilities, but on the other hand, it's expensive. It doesn't prepare you that well for the real world, and you end up with a bad reputation in some people's eyes. So if you've got any questions about music degrees in university, leave a comment below and I'll be happy to get back to you. Or if you want to learn more about my experiences, click here. That just about wraps up this video. If you found it useful, drop a like and subscribe for more videos on being a DIY artist, as well as music production videos and live streams. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!